So, you just bought a handgun, or maybe a rifle, or both. And now you're standing at the range like, why do my bullets hate me? Let me guess, you're aiming, but nothing's hitting where it should. Congratulations, you've entered the world of sight alignment confusion. Today, we're going to fix that. We're talking iron sights, red dots, handguns, rifles, and yes, what you're probably doing wrong, because let's be honest, just pointing and clicking is for video games. Safety first, cool later. Before we start pointing at things, let's get something straight. Guns are not toys, even if they look like one when they're Cerakoted bright pink. So before we even touch a trigger, treat every gun as if it's loaded. Never point it at anything you're not willing to destroy or kill. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot, and know your target and what's beyond it. Everything I demo today is a cleared firearm. You should be doing the same at home if you're following along, because accidentally shot my toaster is not a valid excuse on a police report. Aiming a handgun with iron sights. Iron sights, the OG way to aim. No batteries, no glass, just you and the front sight and your terrible depth perception. Here's the secret sauce. Front sight centered in the rear notch, with the top of the sights all in a straight line. That's called sight alignment. Sight picture is what you see when that aligned set is placed on your target. Now, how you place that sight alignment on the target matters too. Let's talk about holds. First up, center hold. That's where the aligned sights are aimed right at the center of the bullseye. You're basically trying to cut the target in half horizontally with the top edge of the sights. Clean, classic, very precision. Then there's the combat hold. That's where your front sight, or red dot, covers the point of impact. It's faster, especially for self-defense ranges. You just center that front sight on whatever needs to stop and go. And while we're here, there's the old school 6 o'clock hold, where the front sight sits just under the bullseye, like it's wearing a little hat. It's mostly for precision paper punching. Some guns are even factory zeroed for one or the other, so if your rounds are landing low, you might be aiming for the wrong hold. Know your setup. Now, sight alignment is a relationship between your front and rear sights. Sight picture is the whole image, sights, and target when you're aiming. And hey, if your target looks blurry while the front sight is clear, congrats, you're doing it right. Focus on the front sight. The target and the rear sight can be blurry. This is especially true when point shooting isn't an option. But when you do need to shoot fast up close, point shooting can come in handy. That's when you raise the gun, focus on the target, and fire with no time to align sights. It's not precise, but under 5 yards, it can save your life if practiced enough. So when should you use one eye versus both eyes open? Great question. One eye closed can help new shooters focus better on the front sight without visual distractions, but shooting with both eyes open improves peripheral vision, speed, and depth perception, especially for defensive scenarios. If your brain can handle it, go with both eyes open. If you are cross-eye dominant though, left eye dominant but right-handed, you're going to want to experiment and possibly close the dominant eye until you find what works. Cross dominance would be if my right eye is the one I have to aim with, but I'm left-handed, for example. You may pull up with your right hand and get ready to fire, and you can't seem to get a good sight picture. You would almost have to cock your head into a very awkward position so your left eye could see if you were left eye dominant. Aiming a rifle with iron sights. With rifles, especially ARs, we're often using a peep sight. That means the rear sight is a small aperture and your eye naturally centers the front post without much thought. Think of it like looking through a keyhole at your target. Same sight alignment rules apply. Front post in the center, top level with the rear sight ring. Focus on the front sight. Let the target blur. Sounds familiar, right? Center hold and combat hold work here too. Most rifles are zeroed for a specific distance, like a 50-200 or a 25-300, which means your point of impact changes depending on how close or far your target is. That's where the magic term holdover comes in, but more on that in a future video. Red dots and handguns. All right, let's talk red dots, those tiny glowing lifesavers or confusing little floaty dots, depending on your skill level. With a red dot, forget aligning front and rear sights. You just look through the window, place the dot where you want the bullet to go, and boom, done. But, and it's a big but, only if your fundamentals are solid. Grip, stance, and presentation matter a ton. If you draw sloppy, your dot will ghost you like a bad Tinder date. That's why dry fire practice is your best friend with red dots. Learn your presentation angle so the dot appears instantly. Make it habitual. And let's talk about older eyes or vision issues. Red dots can be a total game changer for people with compromised vision or aging eyes, but some caveats. Red versus green dots. Got astigmatism? I do. Astigmatism can make that red dot look like a blurry starfish. If that's you, try a green dot instead. Often crisper, especially in daylight. Also, don't forget, red dots need batteries. If it dies and you don't have backup sights, you're aiming with hope and good intentions. That's not a strategy. Red dots on rifles. Super fast, both eyes open shooting, minimal parallax at close distances. The same concept applies. Place the dot on the target, squeeze the trigger. And yes, zero your dot, please. You'd be surprised how many folks slap one on and expect perfect hits at 200 yards. Spoiler, you'll miss. And please make sure you're using Loctite. I can't tell you how many times I've been at the range, including myself, and I went to shoot and the whole entire optic just popped off. Now let's talk about common aiming mistakes. Let's talk about what you're doing wrong and what I've done wrong, because let's be real, it's probably one of these. Common mistakes with iron sights. Focusing on the target instead of the front sight. Misaligning the rear and front sights. Equal light, equal height. Tilting the gun slightly. The gangsta lean does not help aim. Jerking the trigger, and of course, flinching or anticipating the shot. Common mistakes for red dots. Fishing for the dot, poor presentation. Not verifying zero. Over-reliance on the dot without proper fundamentals. Shooting with a dot instead of through the glass. Assuming the dot will fix bad shooting habits. Accuracy isn't just about aiming. It's grip, sight alignment, breathing, trigger control, and follow-through. It's a symphony, and your finger's the conductor. Once you have proper sight picture and are prepared to fire, follow these steps. The more habitual they become, the faster you can do them over time. Focus on the fundamentals first before speed. So once your sights are aligned, put your finger on the trigger. Take up any slack in the trigger. Inhale, exhale, and then hold your breath and pause. Now squeeze, do not slap the trigger. Pull it over a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, especially when you first start. The gun firing should surprise you, and then you're going to release to the trigger's reset, and then repeat as needed. Wrap up and practice tips. So how do you get better? Dry fire, baby. Check out my other video on dry fire that I just did, somewhere up here. Very important, great information, great tools. But practice presenting your gun until the sights or dot appear where they should every time. Do it daily, your muscle memory will thank you. There's even gear for this that I talk about in the dry fire video, like the Mantis systems, laser trainers, the dry fire mag. It's like a shooting gym for your living room. Also, video yourself. It feels weird, but you'll spot mistakes your brain ignores, like slapping the trigger or turtling your head. And always remember, dry fire doesn't replace live fire, but it makes live fire so much more productive. So there you go. Whether you're rocking iron sights or red dots or both, handgun or rifle, you've now got the tools to aim like a boss. Next time, we're getting nerdy with holdovers and zeroing distances. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And remember, aiming isn't magic. It's math, muscle memory, and a little bit of mojo. And if you take your training seriously, check out the dry fire video wherever it ends up. Thanks for watching.